Hello.
It's time for some hostile therapy. All right, welcome to Hostile Therapy with Big Red. Let me move this thing out the way if I can. Okay, there we go. Welcome to Hostile Therapy with Big Red. With me, of course, Big Red, LT, Lord Trent, back at it again with the impressive background. Love it, man. Not
Yeah,
mad at it.
you
I
know what
wish
I'm saying?
it was
That's
back.
the bronze Yeshua. You know what I mean?
You have better CGI than the Flash movie had. I'll say that right
I
now.
haven't seen it yet. I don't know if I want to.
Wait till it comes on Max. I'll just say that. Wait.
I'm gonna steal it from somewhere else. I've already
Steal it
made
from
that
somewhere
decision.
else or wait till it comes on Max. But don't pay for it.
Oh,
I'll
I'm
just,
not.
yeah.
I knew I was not going to pay for it at all.
All right.
Don't even worry.
We also got somebody else coming up here to speak on the subjects we're talking about today. Andrew Greenfield. I think you might have your thing on mute. If you want to take that off right quick. What's going on, man?
What's up?
What's going on,
Peace,
man?
brother.
Nothing much, man.
All right. Sitting in the car. Are you going to work? Coming from work? Where are you going? Going to get
No,
a
I
jet?
had to go get some stuff, and then I had to stop for a minute because I ain't got my real stuff set up yet. Because I got my music and all this stuff. I do beats and stuff. I moved back to my mom, so I ain't got everything set up yet.
Okay. That's what's up. All right. How you been, LT?
Evolving. Well, today we just entered Cancer season. Yesterday was the summer solstice, so we are officially in the summer season. Today is the first. Oh, I got that effect on my shit. But today is the first day of. Oh, hold on. I had some recordings coming up. Some auto tune was involved. Give me a second.
Auto tune.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, now you need to talk to Andrew now, so he can fix that for you.
Apparently. Oh. Now I can sing like a robot.
What the hell?
That shit hard.
Right.
But yeah, today is the first. Damn, and I still got the shit on my voice. It's gold kind of hard though, so I'm gonna keep going with it. But today is the first day of Cancer season. My birthday is in 2 motherfucking days. Cancer season coming straight through. You already know what the fuck it is. Your boy gonna be 31 years old. I just been in a, you know what I'm saying, retrospective stage, just seeing what the fuck it is with life. This shit is really coming in and out like I'm an ethereal cosmic being. I might leave this on for the whole fucking shit.
Please don't.
I'm
you
gonna keep trying to
sound
mess
like
with it.
a god right now. I mean, I'm not totally mad at it, but you know that might cause a little interference when you're trying to make a point. You know.
Yeah, it's good. It's a little distracting.
It's more than it's a little distracting. It's like, how am I gonna be able to make a point against you, and when you got the God complex in the background, it's like he's right. Whatever he has to say, he's right. Listen to his voice. You can't talk to the man in the burning bush. The man is right. Oh, you're on mute right now. I don't know if you did that on purpose. Take it off.
Right. We're all good.
Wait a minute. Is that everything's off now? Is that your voice?
Oh yeah, we're good.
Are you doing that on purpose?
Doing what?
Man, you're doing that on purpose. That's not. Yeah, I'm about to say. I'm about to say. Please tell me that's not a sound thing. Okay. All right. So let's get down to business here. First story we're going to talk about today is the Daniel Penny story. And Jordan Neely. Jordan Neely was the guy that was on the subway station, and he was put in a chokehold by Daniel Penny, put on there just a little bit too long to the point where he suffocated and passed away. And now he eventually got charged with murder. So the question is, and we'll implement a few more details to the story as we go along, but is this a story where we think this guy should go to prison for murder, or should he be labeled a hero for potentially saving people who are on the subway station? Should he be a hero for potentially saving their lives? Because that's a part of the story too. People are saying he was a danger to the passengers. The Marine guy stepped in, put him in a chokehold, albeit too long, until he passed away. Should Daniel Penny go to prison for murder? And if anybody has any extra details they want to add to this to defend Daniel Penny or go against Daniel Penny or defend Jordan Neely, please be free. Feel free to present those details. Okay? So, with that being said, LT, what do you think? Do you think Daniel Penny, ex-Marine, should be convicted of murder?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you tell us why.
Indubitably. Because literally, when did we start giving human beings, regular human beings, even though this man was a Marine, you're no longer within the service. So you don't get to come back into being a civilian and play judge, jury, and executioner. And as all the other stories were saying, this man was on the train yelling about how hungry he was, how thirsty he was, how desperate he was, how down and out he was. And instead of offering him help, we murdered him. People watched as this man got murdered, and the murderer, because he is of the right skin tone, because he definitely plays for privilege. And not only that, he was in the military. Like he's not only getting white privilege, he's getting military privilege. He was literally not the justice system just did not interact with him the same way they would interact with a black. Like again, I've seen a black cop. I think we saw this like last year, a few years ago. A Afro Latino member, active duty member of the military, gets stopped by a gang of white police officers and pepper sprayed, harassed, and racially profiled in his uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Our interactions with the justice system, our treatment from the justice system, the military treat with the military, or the way our society treats white men who come to the way our society treats veterans. Because you know what, I won't even put everything on Daniel Penny as him just wanting to be a cold-blooded murderer. There might be some psychological evaluations that he needs, because again, this man is a Marine. He's probably seen some type of battle. He's seen something that made him feel like the only way I can solve this situation is by to put this person in a deadly chokehold, because that's what my training has taught me, because that's what I've gotten from the United States military. That's the set of skills that's got me in New York on a fucking subway with everybody the fuck else. So I do think he should be tried for murder. His guilt, if we're leaving it up to a jury of our peers, it's never going to be our peers. So fingers crossed on a fucking conviction. But I strongly believe that there there should be a better or more conversations around how we treat our veterans, more conversations around how we treat our homeless people, because they end up becoming the same person. Like if you go to any veterans hospital, there's a number of veterans sitting outside across the street, mad, homeless, disabled, missing limbs, won't be taken care of.
It's a nice point. It's a good way to wrap that up. They end up becoming the same person a lot of times in the end. Okay, so let me ask you this before I go to Andrew. Let me ask you this: what degree of murder do you think he should be convicted of? First degree, second degree, or third?
Now, see, this is where I'll let somebody else jump in, because I do not fully understand the degrees of murder. And you know what? The legal system is literally just just fuck you motherfuckers on paper, because you kill someone, you kill someone. There's no like you know what I'm saying? You don't I don't think a murderer contemplates, all right, let me make sure I kill them like this, so it's only second degree. Like I don't understand the legal system in that way, and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
I'll give you an explanation, maybe a couple examples. So first degree murder is premeditated. That's kind of the big difference between the first and second. Premeditated murder, intentional murder, life imprisonment most of the time is what you'll get. Second degree murder is unplanned murder, intended to cause harm, committed impulsive murder. 10 years without parole to life imprisonment is about maybe the average of what you'll get. The third degree murder is probably the most different one. Third degree murder is usually because of negligence. It wasn't on purpose. Like a drunk driver can possibly get convicted.
But see, drunk drivers usually get like manslaughter. So it's third degree, like manslaughter.
Okay. Yeah.
Which that sounds like a worse than, like, honestly, manslaughter sounds like a way harder fucking offense than first degree murder.
The name does, right? Yeah, I've always said that.
It's so
slaughter somebody. Yeah, that sounds like it's bad, but yeah, usually it's by accident. You ever saw what's that movie? He Got Game? You ever saw that movie?
Yep.
Okay, you remember where Denzel killed his wife by accident? He didn't intend to kill her, and she ended up hitting her head against the stove. Even though I think he did get like first degree or second degree murder, but I thought it should have been third degree. because his intention was not to kill her. It was just to
Right.
get her out the way or
Either-
get her off of him, whatever. That was, an
Crime of
accident.
passion.
Well, I think that would probably be crime of passion. I think would be second degree murder because it wasn't planned, but
Right.
he did. Yeah, it wasn't premeditated. It was done in the moment.
Well, that's literally the job of the prosecution to prove,
Yeah.
depending on what they want to book you for.
Right. So, okay. With that being said, what would you say if he is convicted? What would you give him what would you charge him with? First degree, second degree?
Yeah, if I was the prosecutor, I want first degree murder,
You
even
want first-
though that would be hard to get because I would have to prove like he's not like a Dylan Holmes character. I don't know. I haven't looked into Daniel Penny after all of this, so I don't know if he's aligned with any white supremacist, alt-right, fucking MAGA groups. I don't know. Because like I said, I'm trying to offer him a bit of empathy as well because he is a veteran. The police interacted with him like that, and that's how the media was spinning it. Veteran saves people on subway train. Veteran takes out dangerous homeless man. So they use that veteran as a way to paint him in a positive light for the rest of us. So I do want to give him the benefit of the doubt. So I guess in order to be fair, I'd go second degree murder. I don't think he planned on doing it, but there was it wasn't an accident.
Okay.
I don't think a chokehold is ever an accident.
Okay. Andrew, man, what would you have to say about this case, man? Do you think Daniel Penny should be labeled a murderer? If you think he does, what degree murder would you give him? Or do you think it was justified and it was an accident?
I say murderer, but I say that because it was just like you put somebody in chokehold, but it was like an inappropriate hold.
Mm-hmm.
Because I looked into the story and I noticed the guy actually had mental health issues, even though he was homeless at the same time. And when you look at really homeless people, a lot of them have mental health issues, and we have a piss poor mental health system in the U.S. in regards to it. So when it comes to handling it, because like me, I work as a nurse, and you deal with mental health issues. You don't have to put everybody in a hole. You can redirect. There's other things you can do, and I think a lot of people, and I get it. And in some of those situations, a lot of people. There's really nobody really trained when you get in a subway or something to handle mental health issues. And then you got a military guy that puts somebody in a hole, but in his mind, he should be able to assess the situation and realize it's nothing life threatening.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to murder, I would say if they want to get him, they would probably go for first. And then when it goes to court, it'll probably go down to second or third.
Okay. So do you think, you don't think it was planned, of course.
No, I don't think it was planned.
Done in the moment. Right.
Because that's a good point. As a person in the military, he's not trained to deal with conflict like a police officer is. A police officer is trained to walk up and de-escalate a situation. A soldier, a Marine is not trained to go in there and talk about shit.
Yeah. It's just usually like a go in and just kind of like kill shit.
Okay. Okay. All right, fair enough. I thought they had a little bit of training with how to de-escalate a situation.
They de-escalate with the good hands.
Yeah. Okay, so let's come back to this then. In the situation that if you two were put in that situation, as your own beings, you saw Jordan Neely. They said he was threatening people. He might have been. I think he was having an episode or whatever. He may have not done anything to these people. If you were there in place of Daniel Penny, what would you have done? And I'll come to you, Andrew, first. What would you have done to calm the situation?
The question is, main thing is getting him to really talk. If he says, I'm homeless, I'm hungry, get him to talk. And then for me, considering my background, if I really see what was going on, you can kind of see as a mental health issue. The main thing would be kind of like get people to be like, hey, look, just leave him alone. Like, let's, because a lot of times, and like, I know I have a limited skill set in dealing with it, but it's just when you look at the situation and you kind of deem it, do what you need to do, like in terms of like really talking to the person, trying to figure out what they really need. Because a lot of times you look at somebody like that, they might really be hungry, but then it's like it's intensified.
All right.
they can't really regulate themselves emotionally.
But if he starts putting hands on people, or starts pushing people around, what do you do at that point? Because
It's just
after
time.
words don't
Like,
seem to help.
yeah, you gotta help. You gotta step in, but you gotta kind of use appropriate action. Like if
Yeah,
he just hitting people, you ain't gonna really just go in and try to like, man, let me take him down and kill him.
yeah, because he might get you. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you never know whether this guy has a weapon on himself too. And a
yeah,
lot of, and this is the thing with kind of today's generation now, because we see this stuff on social media all the times where people are getting attacked. I mean, we did I think a show. I don't know if you were here yet, LT. Might have been a little bit before you, but we did a show where this woman was sexually assaulted. We'll kind of deal with that later on in the show, but she was sexually assaulted on the train, and people just kind of sat there and didn't do anything. And they just let it happen. They just looked. And then people got criticized for that too. It's like nobody even called the police. They just had their phones recording, and that was it. And that's the kind of society we're in now. And if somebody were to step forward and if this was an accident or not, or if he did it on purpose and the consequences is he's got to go to court and be tried for murder, this is going to make people more off-putting to not help out. So I can kind of understand why some people don't do anything, but at the same time, I hate where people are just looking and see someone get assaulted. Now, he didn't go as far as the other story we were talking about where somebody got sexually assaulted on a train, but who knows where it would have got to.
Murder and sexual assault is.
We just never know where it's going to go to, is what I'm saying, though. Both of it is an act of violence, is what I'm saying. Where do we draw the line where we just step back and take a phone and record and then post it later? Or do we just go ahead and intervene and try to do something to stop it? I clearly believe the guy went too far, of course. But it seems like in today's society, people are so afraid that it could turn into something like this. And some people just don't know where to put the brakes on because this cat obviously didn't know when to stop. It puts people in the mindset to not help out at all, I think.
Shit, what I would have did if I was on the train and this motherfucker was yelling about how hungry and thirsty he was, I would have gave him some money to get something to eat. Like I would have like when people are yelling, and I notice this with not just adults but children, when they're yelling and screaming at the top of their lungs, they're usually doing so because they want attention. They're usually doing so because they feel like they're not getting anyone attention, because they feel unheard. And you're right, like especially if you're homeless and you're dealing with mental health issues, that's multiple things, and that's multiple things compiled on top of a person. And again, no one, like, help doesn't always have to be like, we're only thinking about help, I think, in the terms of the train, the people on the train, the bystanders who felt like they were in such danger, but none of them were being met with violence. So this man shouldn't have been met with violence.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think, I don't know, did anyone actually call the police for this incident, or did they wait until after this cat was killed on the train?
I think they waited until he was murdered. Like, I mean, because how do you call the police when you're on a subway?
I mean, I think you can. I mean, because they got security, I think, around the subway station.
They do?
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
It seems ineffective.
Yeah, they just got to know what place they're at, where they're going to drop off station is. But yeah, I think they got security, or at least police that can come there at a certain time and know where the drop off or opening of the subway station is. So yeah.
What was this man Daniel Penny even doing on the train? Like, a 24-year-old Marine veteran. That's really young to be a Marine. That's really young to be a Marine veteran.
Right.
So that leads me to believe he didn't have a long, illustrious 10, 15, 20-year military career that some decorated veterans have. But this young man knew a kill maneuver, was able to utilize it all very young. So that lets me, I'm getting to, he was discharged for something. He had to be discharged early, served it, like, because So that, and usually I'm thinking not physical because he seemed like he was in good health. It had to
Right.
be a mental reason that he was discharged, or they were just simply done with him. You know what I'm saying? Like again, the military just treats those young men like bodies. And it's so sad because it's literally the opposite ends of the spectrum. It's a white man and a black man. It's a person that's highly respected by society versus a person that is unrespected by society. But I feel like the thing that connects them both is a mental health issue that is largely ignored in both the military and homeless community.
Hmm. Not sure. I'm not sure what he was, if he was discharged, honorably discharged. I haven't heard anything that he got in a controversy.
It's real young for him to be out of the military already and considered a veteran.
Right. Yeah. Saying like something had to happen, whatever. But
It's like if this was gangland shit and you were an OG at 24, that means you put in some serious work as soon
Right.
as you got put down with the set.
Okay.
OG.
Okay. I'm gonna play this video right quick with Daniel Penny explaining his actions. Maybe it'll change your mind, maybe it won't, but I'm gonna play it right quick and see what we have to say after the conclusion.
Morning, sources say a Manhattan grand jury has indicted the Marine veteran accused of placing a homeless man in a deadly chokehold on the subway. The exact charges will not be revealed until Daniel Penny appears in court, but he was initially arrested on a second-degree manslaughter charge, which would carry a sentence of up to 15 years in prison if he's convicted. Penny released a video Sunday describing his encounter with Jordan Neely, saying Neely was threatening passengers on that train.
The three main threats that he repeated over and over was, I'm going to kill you, I'm prepared to go to jail for life, and I'm willing to die.
Penny says he restrained Neely to protect himself and others, but did not intend to kill him.
I used this hole to restrain him, and I did this by leaving my hand on top of his head to control his body. You can see in the video there's a clear rise and fall of his chest, indicating that he was still breathing.
The prosecutors claim when Penny released his arm from Neely's neck, Neely appeared unconscious. His death was later ruled a homicide by compression of the neck. Nearly $3 million have now been raised for Penny's legal defense. Last night, Neely's family released a statement saying Daniel Penny's indictment is the right result for the wrong he committed, adding Penny did not have the right to be the judge, jury, and executioner. Penny is currently free on bond. He has not entered a plea just yet.
Okay.
Man, fuck this white devil.
Just that simple.
Fuck
All
him.
right.
And everybody who love him.
All right. Andrew, did you what else do you have to say about this situation that you like to add on? You hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was asking what else would you like to add about this story?
I know for me, ain't really much else. I mean, what we see is like a mental health issues. Because I mean, when you look at across the U.S., we rank actually statistically we rank higher than a lot of countries that a lot of people would think would have worse mental health issues. Even some like places like India, China, places like that, we rank higher. So it's it's more of an issue. What should we do to improve mental health in the U.S.?
Are you saying that India does not have the same avenues?
Yeah, they several countries that we rank below. Because I think I'm trying to remember. Because I think it was like a while ago I looked at one and we were like in the top 10 for worst mental health.
I could believe it. Shit.
I wonder how though. I mean, I don't know. Seems like we have so many avenues for mental health. It's like I don't know. How can we be even better? How can you not get? I don't know. Maybe the access to pay for mental health maybe is worse. Maybe that's
I think it's the access and
American healthcare system.
Yeah. Okay. I got what you're saying.
I think access, and I think the culture overall.
There you go. I think it's the culture more so than anything because we have a lot of avenues for mental health, and there's places that don't have mental health, nowhere near compared to what we have. But they also have family. They have a culture that the next person will help you. The strangers will help you. They'll help pick you up. If you got homeless people, that they'll let you stay with them until you get back on your feet. We don't have that kind of culture here, at least not anymore.
Yeah.
Nah, we shun each other.
And then also like we don't do as much things like say you go to like what is it? We have different traditions. Like if you look, because like it really like Scandinavian countries have a higher mental health, well, a better mental health than the U.S. Scandinavia, a lot of European countries. A lot of some people say it's the healthcare system, but I think it's also the culture. Like we don't like even if you look at us now, mo just think about the culture we have now. If you go somewhere, most everybody's on the phone. Everybody's doing there's no interaction, no really
Yeah.
social interaction.
Yep.
Word.
It's the culture of self.
Very very self-centered culture.
Yeah. So, and Michelle has just asked, where was the family at with
That was a very
helping
good point.
with helping him before he even got to this point? Because, from what I've read, okay, get it, Jordan Neely, his mother had died some years ago, and that's began the down spiral of his mental health, and he never quite got the help he needed to help him recover from that. And also on top of this too, to you guys' point, he was labeled as autistic, and autistic people don't always handle situations the same way as people who are non-autistic or who are not on the spectrum. So you don't know you can't handle everybody the same way. You can't handle everybody the same way, period. But especially somebody who's autistic, you don't know how to go into the handling that person who also has mental illness on top of being autistic. So trained people, as LT was saying, need to be in these areas to be able to handle a dire situation like this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Marines, as you were saying, Andrew, they definitely probably are not trained to deal with someone who's autistic.
No.
Hell no. They train to put bullets in heads and bring back bodies.
Well, thank God he didn't have a gun. Isn't that kind of what happens, I guess, with policemen if they're not trained to handle those type of people either? And we've seen that happen too.
Yeah.
And we also see what happens when when the roles are reversed and it's a young white person, or most recently, another thing we just forgot and glanced over, never went back to, a trans person walked into an elementary school and caught a bunch of bodies. When it's other groups of people, we focus on their mental health. We focus on the media that they were consuming. We focus on the music that they were listening to. Like we focus on everything outside of the self of that person. We try to make it about everything that influenced them and not just them as a whole. But when it comes to when it comes to this case, people would rather see a screaming homeless man that they like again, it's kind of a sick, morbid place that we're at as a culture that we want to see street justice. Like we want to see again. We've been seeing what we watch Eric Garner get choked out. We watch motherfucking George Floyd get choked out.
Yeah.
This was a homeless black man with mental issues. And to Michelle's point about where was his family at, if his mother had passed away, I don't know his relationship with his father, and I don't know if he has any siblings, but yeah, sometimes your family doesn't have it to take care of you. Sometimes because of your mental state, you don't want to be or you don't want to interact with your family. It could be his mental illness that led him out on his own, especially after the death of his mother. Like, and sometimes it's not easy especially if he's living a certain lifestyle. A homeless one probably doesn't have a phone of his own. So his family that, knows he exists probably doesn't have a way to contact him. They don't have a way to just, get in contact with him as they would so like to. And you would only probably hear about it through shit like this. So, in other cultures, their families definitely step in, and in Black cultures, we do need to practice a lot more of stepping in to help our family members when they fall down instead of casting them to the side, because that's what America does. We've been Americanized. We literally, and that's why America's healthcare system is so shitty. We can look at like Andrew was saying, we can look at other countries in like Scandinavia and Switzerland and Sweden. It's simply because those nations care about their people. They know that if they take care of their people, the people are going to take care of the nation. America has been a nation for the past nearly 300 years built upon subjugating, oppressing, manipulating, and controlling its people in order to generate profits. Everything we do over here costs money. It's so ironic that we call it the land of the free, but you cannot get sick without paying for it. And it's going to cost you way more than the modern expense. It's going to cost you way more than, it takes to actually stay healthy, or about the same. Our food is being recalled, our water is damaged. I don't even know if Flint, Michigan still has clean water. America doesn't give a fuck about its people. America keeps us just alive enough to continue to work and generate income and generate streams and consume and buy and participate in things that make America and the 10 or few dozen people that profit off of America even more wealthy. With that being said, fuck those billionaires that went missing at the bottom of the ocean. I hope whatever they were looking for found them.
Oh no, they found what they were looking for in the afterlife. You remember how Titanic? Ended, where all the dead people were waving at each other in the Titanic? All the ghosts of Titanic were smiling and welcoming. That's what happened.
That was neat, but that was also like, it's like, because I thought that meant Rose was dying. I was like, bitch, are you finally, after telling this long ass story, you finally about to die and have your last dance with Jack in front of Billy Zane? It's great.
All right, let me add one more part to it, and to me, it doesn't matter because Daniel Penny didn't know this, because this is one of the things I kind of hate when people dig into people's past, but because it doesn't really matter at the end. Like when people talk about someone's crime history after they get killed, I'm like, well, the person who killed them didn't know that at the time, so that didn't influence how they acted upon him. But I'm mentioning this just to kind of give you a picture of what Neely was going through. So for what I pulled up, let's see, Jordan Neely, his mother was killed by her partner at the time. And let's see, he went into a bit of a downward spiral. He suffered from schizophrenia. He had over 42 arrests prior to, I think, this year. Most recently for punching a 67-year-old woman in East Village in November 2021. Now, again, none of that matters because Daniel Penny didn't know any of that. So none of that matters in the end. I'm just giving you a picture of what he was going through mentally. He wasn't right. And I'm mentioning this because he got arrested, and a lot of times they just dropped him off at a psych ward and he was out the next day. So he really wasn't helped, is what I'm saying. So it was, you if anything, I would, if you can sue, I don't know if you can, but I think it's a fault of the mental health psychiatric ward. Maybe the police for not putting him in the proper place. Maybe it's not their fault, but at least the psychiatric ward, it's their fault for releasing him back to the streets when he wasn't mentally ready yet to deal with everyday society.
He ain't have insurance. What we gonna do?
But that's something that should be fixed. At least free health care for that, maybe.
We can't make money off of free health care.
Oh, that's true. It's gonna come out from somewhere, but
America not about to take America. If America gives us anything for free, know that there is a dire cost.
Something's gonna come from somewhere,
America is like we're this nation was built by Romans and Greeks, and there's an old Greek saying, beware of Greeks bearing gifts. The last people to receive a gift from the Greeks were the Trojans. It was the Trojan horse.
That didn't end up good.
It did. They sacked, ran through, raped, and pillaged the entire city of Troy. They threw Hector's baby off of the fucking. Basically, America is built from that. America has that blood running through its DNA, and we are literally here, not under duress anymore, but we're here to keep this country powerful. The thing that makes a nation the most powerful, it's not its military, it's not its natural resources, it's its people, because we're the most natural resource. We are the military. And that's why America has such an emphasis on, still marketing themselves as the home of the free, the land of the brave, the land of opportunity, the new land of milk and honey. But it's literally a farce. It's actually the new Sodom and Gomorrah. It's actually the new Rome. You know what I'm saying? It's actually the new the new Babylon. Honestly, it's not even Babylon. It's not even spiritually uplifted enough to be Babylon. I take that back.
All right. Let's see. Any parting comments before we leave this subject?
That's right.
That's right.
I will say
Fuck that
schizophrenia added a whole new dimension to it, because if he's autistic and schizophrenic, if you think he probably hasn't been medicated for like a long ass time, so he's probably having like a long expanded psychotic episode. So him going to a psych ward, they probably couldn't keep him, because when they sent him there, they probably couldn't keep him for so long, because now they need his family to say, hey, look, we need to declare him incompetent and keep him, or however, we need to keep him here for a certain amount of time.
And let's be honest, no family would probably want to do that, because a psych ward it's not the same as a jail. But again, our healthcare system, the things that happen in these psych wards, he would not get the kind of help he needs. He's not coming out rehabilitated. Just like if you go to jail, there's a slim chance that you actually get rehabilitated, and if you do, it's coming through the work that you're doing on your own. It's not coming from the jail system itself. It's not because the officers or the COs in the jail are really trying to turn you into the person you're supposed to be. It's because of the shit that you're going through, that you're being put through, that you know what I'm saying, you become what you need to, like on some Malcolm X type shit. But a lot of families would not sign over the rights, or not the rights, but sign over, you know, the right for the psych ward to just have, you know, control of the person, because you don't know what condition you'll get your family member back in.
Yeah, that
You
is
still
true.
want them to have their freedom.
Okay. All right, then. So we'll leave that one and we'll move on to the next subject. All right. We're going to jump on hip hop a little bit on this one.
Hip hop, real hip hop.
All right. You a big fan, either one of you, of Sukihana?
I am not a fan of Sukihana
No.
whatsoever. I'm actually mad that I know who she is.
I'm kind of mad at that too. I don't know any songs from her. I've seen clips of her. I've seen her twerk on a 10-year-old in a video before.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah. I don't know what the name of the song is, but I remember that. If I can ever
I hate
find
to
it.
refer to her as this, but she is a famous thought rapper,
Right.
musician,
Well, that's
content creator.
so you kind of know what her persona is, right? Kind of not. It's kind of Little Kim-ish, but not so much. You know, it's
I
actually.
wouldn't say Little Kim. I would say Kaya. I would say
Okay.
big
I
Kaya
get
energy.
it.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. You know, to me, Little Kim really does most of that stuff on stage and on the album, but she carries herself a different way when she's just doing interviews or whatever.
Lil' Kim
Sukihana, when she does interviews, she seems to want to portray what she does on record or her music or whatever. You know, Lil' Kim is like, okay, I can leave my persona any time. I can be respectful at award shows or whatever like that, but on
because
record,
her music is bigger than her persona. That's why Little Kim can do that.
right. So with that being said, you know, and what we're about to do 2 minutes. We're going to get 2 minutes to initially talk about this. It's not leave it or medicate. It's kind of just your opinion on this story coming up. So, and I'm going to show a video of it. Sukihana was at some event. I'm not sure what event it was, but this other rapper, YK Osiris, not really familiar with him either. New generation, not my fault.
I'm familiar with him for all the wrong reasons.
Oh, for all the wrong
yeah, I
reasons.
am too.
So he from what people have been saying in these videos and comments, saying people are saying he's sexually assaulted Sukihana. I don't view it that way, but he tried to go in for a kiss and he got curved pretty badly on camera in front of everybody, and it was the way he got curved that people took a offense with, but people are really mad at YK Osiris and saying he sexually assaulted her. He should have known not to kiss her. She didn't give consent. I got a couple opinions about it, about how it happened and maybe why it happened. But I'm gonna play the video. I'm gonna let you guys see. Then we're gonna go with each other's opinion about what you thought happened and what you saw. Let me pull up the video right quick. Where, as soon as I find it, let's see. Here we go.
You were the right one, then.
Oh, yeah.
You will, little girl. Listen, I need to kiss the tattoo. I need to kiss the tattoo. I know I've seen some nut trip right there before.
Oh, my God.
We have to ball.
Oh, my.
Oh, two already.
All right. So, yeah, that's the video there. So, people are really coming at YK Osiris. He has apologized recently and saying, yeah, he took it too far. But I don't know. I think sexual assault is a strong word to use here. But I'm going to give y'all guys a couple minutes and you give me your opinion on what you think happened. Do you think he was wrong? Do you think that he should be ostracized forever for this, or even now for this? Do you just think it was just he just didn't read the room right? I'm gonna let y'all tell me what you think, and I'm going to pop 2 minutes up here. Let's see, as soon as I find my thing, let's see. LT, you know how it works. Andrew, you're gonna get a couple minutes to give your point of view. I'm gonna let you go first. You're gonna see a clock that pops up here. It gives you 2 minutes. Tell us what you think about the situation and how you think it should have ended, or how do you think people should judge him going forward? All right, here we
You
go.
ready?
You go ahead, Andrew.
Go!
So I just think it was just he misread the room. I wouldn't say sexual. We talk about consent now, and I think the thing we talk about consent now, but the problem is we don't really teach guys really good game. We don't really like good game, and not game of like seducing, but game of just like looking at social cues and dealing with women. Sometimes you may laugh and joke, and and it may not be like, damn, I could go in for a kiss. It's just like a laugh and joke, really social situation, non-sexual situation. And so, like somebody like him going in for the kiss, it just and I like on the part of sexual assault, I get it, but it's just like that's too much. Because you think about us when we were young, you trying to deal with a woman and you just learning and you just like, man, maybe I should kiss her, maybe I shouldn't. And then you go in and you learn, you kind of like, it's a learning experience, but then it's just like, you don't want some stuff you just don't want to do in public.
All right.
I mean,
You good on it? That's all you got?
yeah, I'm good on it. I'm good.
Okay. All right. All right. LT cheating like, oh, I'm gonna take the whole 2 minutes. All right. All
I
right.
give it shit. I
LT.
might not need the whole 2 minutes.
All right, man. Tell us how you feel about the situation, man.
Are you ready? Go!
The first thing I immediately feel, everybody in the video looked like this whole thing looked like a bunch of bad kids in gym class. Like something happened in the school and everybody had to go to gym. Like the AC went off and it was during and everyone had to go to gym and everybody was in the gym being bad. That's everybody here just looks like a bad ass little kid. I don't know much about Sukihana. I don't know much about YK Osiris. Like I said, the things I've been exposed to them or exposed to from them has not painted them in a positive light. Like I've seen Sukihana getting walked like a dog by motherfucking NLE Chopper. And I've seen a YK Osiris deliver a incredibly garbage freshman freestyle. Not to mention he was also having a mental health issue not too long ago where he was on live talking about how he wanted to unalive himself. So again, are these people getting help? But we're so focused on the new outrage, the selective outrage of what to be mad at. Because yeah, is this sexual assault? I don't think so. Like, because I'm not gonna say it's not sexual assault because of how this woman presents herself to the world. These are celebrities. These aren't quote unquote regular people. Their lives are literally something that we're watching for our entertainment. Watching them interact together in spaces like this is literally like these moments are literally what things are for. Again, everyone is sitting there with their phones, hoping to get a moment. No one's yelling out, "Hey, he's sexually assaulting her. Hey, that was sexual assault. No one in there yelled it out." And was that Lil Duval?
Yeah.
Remember the tweets Lil Duval had about his daughter or some shit? Everything is weird. And yeah, I don't care. I don't think it was sexual assault, and I don't think either of them thought it was sexual assault either. Like someone said, she was laughing about it, but I know that is a thing women tend to do. They get nervous and laugh.
Nervous laughter.
But
well, his was nervous laughter too. When he walked away, he was like, she curved me.
Isn't he known for being like kind of a lame? Kind of like
I knew nothing about him.
Like the little that I know about him, he's like that try hard of the group. He's the person that's like always trying too hard to be down, and everyone just treats him like shit. And that's a terrible thing to say about a person that's probably doing better on paper in life than I am. But that's how he's doing better on paper because that's how I know him.
Okay. All right. Let me say what I gotta say about this.
Are you ready? Go.
Okay, so most people are coming at him and saying that he didn't get consent to kiss. I guarantee you 9 out of 10 times, no one goes and asks, "May I kiss you?" No one does that. No one does that. They'll call you lame. Why are you asking me, "Can you kiss me?" Women want you to be assertive and just know when to kiss them. And it just happens. You have to read the room, unfortunately. You have to go off of physical cues instead of verbal cues most of the time. Even with sex, most of the time, guys or women don't ask, "May I have sex with you?" Because it just seems awkward and just basic. Most people are not going to ask the question. Now, you may get a no based off of how you proceed forward. And I didn't hear a no. Unless I'm mistaken, I didn't hear her say no. She did turn her head, and I guess he probably should have read the room at that point and just stopped, especially the second time. But I don't want to call it sexual assault. I just think he just made a mistake and just didn't read the room right. I mean, but also to add to it, and I'm going to go further into it, I know people want to say you shouldn't be judged based on how you act, based on how you dress. You don't deserve a certain physical act to happen to you. But I'm sorry, it's hard. I mean, she was up there talking about, "Hey, I'm going to turn you out. I'm going to give it to you the right way. You got the right one today." And he probably took from there like, "Oh, she really has an interest in me." And based off her persona, how I've seen her on TV, rappers want to say that it's just entertainment until someone confronts them and say they're fake. And then they get mad about it. She would probably do the same thing. So he thought her persona was probably real. She was talking junk to him and say she would turn him out. And he probably thought, "Okay, I think I can go in and get this kiss." I don't even know if he read the room wrong or he just believed in her hype. And this is what happens, And the thing is, it's never really, if it was the right person who was to come forward and kiss her like he was, it wouldn't be sexual assault. But he was the wrong person in that situation. She didn't really like him.
If it was someone that people wanted to see kiss her, like if it was like whoever whoever's hot right now here.
Future?
Yeah. And didn't Adrian Brody rush the stage and kiss Halle Berry one time at the Oscars? You know what I'm saying? So we've seen these things happen. You know what I'm saying? We again, when we want to see it, we don't call it sexual assault.
Yeah, that's the same thing with sexual harassment. It's never sexual harassment until it's somebody you don't want it from. I guess that's when it is sexual harassment. And maybe that can go both ways. It doesn't happen with guys. We just brush it off and like, get away from me. I don't like you. But I don't know. I hate there's got to be another word less than that, because I don't think he was attempt to sexually assault. I don't think he was going to take it that far on TV.
Yeah,
where
pushy maybe at best. Like,
I think he was trying to at least get her number. It's like, hey, I'm gonna leave you a tag to remember me by. Like, hey, remember I gave you that kiss on live TV? How assertive I was. Remember
and
that?
maybe he was just trying to kiss her for a publicity moment, like whatever. Like, I don't think it was as serious as him. Hey, I'm about to kiss you right now, and I don't care what you gotta say. Like, I don't think it was malicious intent behind him trying to. I think it was him maybe trying to have it calculated. Ooh, if I kiss her right here on stage, real sexy in front of everybody, it's gonna get like 1 million views, mad reshares. They're gonna talk about it on podcasts and shit like that. It's gonna be everywhere. It's gonna be a viral moment that I could probably, release a song to or some shit. We could, but again, these people literally only interact with us when they want to sell us shit.
Yeah. But the shit is hella confusing, though. I'm come back to both of y'all on that. It's just hella confusing. If you see Janet Jackson, you know her persona. I'm not saying I'm gonna go ahead and just tongue her down, but you know her persona, and if you were to go out on a date with her, and you're lucky enough to go out on a date with her, and you come home with her, you're probably gonna be like, man, I want to see some of that stuff you were talking about in some of your albums. So you're not going to think she's a nun and she's going to be like a cold fish to you based on her persona. It's just confusing the guys, especially with Sukihana. Sukihana, from everything I've seen her, and LT, you say you've seen her mostly a bad light. I would think that she would at least play along with this, and she's not the type that would just turn him away at any time, especially when it looks like she was flirting with him at one point. And from what I've read, she like erased her Twitter and just like disappeared from the scene. Like it was like a big thing. I'm not saying it wasn't a big thing, but I wasn't expecting it to go that far. And she says YK Osiris has apologized. She give it to her. She did accept his apology, but I it was just made into a bigger situation than I think that it actually was. If people thought that was sexual assault, that he would actually should go to prison for, she could file charge and go to prison for. I was like, dang, that's pretty deep.
But then you have to think about
last year, this man wanted to. Everyone was concerned that this man wanted to kill himself, but again, what was this even like? Like, I get the pretense of a date. What was this event? Like, what was
a basketball event? It sounded like there was a sport event going on in the background.
Okay. It looked like it. Like I said, it looked like a whole bunch of bad kids hanging out in the fucking gym, like skipping class and going to the gym.
Andrew, what were you going to say, man? Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Come on, man.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So what I was looking at was like, I think the sexual assault thing. Have you ever, how some women reject men and it's like really repulsive?
Yeah.
Like they look at it really repulsed. And I think that's where the sexual assault thing comes in, because it's mostly the women. I don't really like you. I'm really repulsed. So they emotionally they feel like that's an appropriate punishment, appropriate thing to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you can't tell them how to feel, but it's a step. Like, I wouldn't sexual assault
like when you think about it logically, and if you study and you know the law, it doesn't fit it. But to them, based on how they feel,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you definitely going to HR. You know what I'm saying? You definitely you getting fired. Like that.
That could happen.
If anything, he deserved to be fired from the basketball team. That's
I was saying, but that can happen on any date. You live long enough, especially I guess when you're younger, and maybe some people still today, go on a date and they think everything's going good and they think they're reading the room right, and they go in for a kiss and like, oh no, sexual assault, really? I mean, just because I read the room wrong?
Right.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit too far to call it sexual assault. There got to be a lesser word for that. And again, no one just says, "May I kiss you?" may I have sex with you? And then wait for the consent. Well, hold on, let me think about it. Yes.
And it looked like he was dared. I'm not gonna look like on some real
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, I think it
Like,
was kind of that too.
it looked like he went after he was done. He ran off to the side and dapped somebody. Hey, I try. It looked like that scene in The Wood. I give you
Yeah.
$1 if you grab her booty.
Yeah. Oh,
Damn,
now see,
nigga,
now you gotta reshoot that whole movie now because that's sexual assault.
that was now see that's sexual assault because he grabbed
And
the
underage.
buttocks.
And underage.
That was statutory. And hey, look, but see, justice was served because
Oh, yeah.
Stacy came.
He got his ass
you
whooped.
know,
See, that's street justice, see?
That did reminds me of that Chris Rock, the stand-up thing. You remember he was talking about the whole sexual thing, and he was talking about you gonna do this, you don't do this, and no man ever looks like, excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, can you do? And you ask, can you do that? And they're like, no,
How lame would that sound?
yeah.
May I partake in
blinded
some
by it.
oral with you? Nobody's gonna say that. Every woman in the world would think you were lame for asking for those type of questions for consent. May I have consent? But just on a separate note, and this it's not really pertain to this. The North Carolina law. Y'all know the North Carolina law for consent?
Not by heart.
Okay. Well, I read it yesterday, and it appears
I feel
North
like anyone
Carolina.
that knows it by heart, you're looking at it way too much.
No, I looked it up just to see how it was
Yeah, I
compared to
know.
this situation here. But apparently, North Carolina is like maybe the only state where if you give consent, let's say for sex, and during the middle of sex you change your mind, it's not going to be considered rape. You can't take it back.
So once
You
it's
can't
in,
change your mind during
no.
sex, and it be considered rape after that.
no back
That's a North Carolina law.
on that axis.
Yeah.
And then I
Seems
think some states are trying to change it to like an enthusiastic consent. Some people want to change it to like an enthusiastic consent.
what does that mean? What does that mean?
I think it's more or less like you're kind of saying yes throughout the whole process, but it's like not like just a yes. It's just like a yes, like not like an implied yes, but an actual you saying yes.
It kind of sounds like a date rape, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like I'm not sure, but I am really sure. And you got to gauge which one you are. Is that what it's
I
kind
think
of?
I think what it is, they want to say enthusiastic consent and say somebody's 100% like yes, instead of just like a okay. Yeah,
So
let's
you
just go
got
ahead
that.
and do
That's
this.
the exact inflection you got to have. Did you want to have sex with that man? Yes.
Damn. So what happened
He's
if
good.
she
He's
just like
innocent.
she's tired? I'll say it was a married couple, and she's just tired, and she's like, "Well, go ahead and get some, and when you're done, turn the TV off and turn the stove off."
Yeah,
That's
that's
not
a
an
divorce.
enthusiastic
She
yes.
literally
I know
turned
most
that
of the time,
around.
I don't know if most states protect husband and wives with that now based on sex. I think that might be a little different now in most states anyway. But yeah, that's kind of tricky there too. Yeah, just if she says no, just stop. I mean, who wants it after that? I would tell anybody just to stop. If you don't want it no more, why do you want to keep going?
Cause that's my whole thing. I look at certain podcasts and certain things online where they talk about dating, and you'll hear guys like, "Yeah, you'll meet a girl and she'll go over to the apartment, but she's like, I'm not having sex." But then you push and there's last minute resistance, and then you go and then you end up having sex, and I'm like, just no.
Just stop. Yeah, I mean, why would you want it after that? I mean, I would.
Yeah, if you get rejected, shouldn't that like for just my ego alone? It's like, you know what? I'm gonna regroup. I think I'm gonna need a. It's called a night. It's
yeah. And I mean, like I say, like he did. I mean, he laughed it off, and I think he knew he messed up.
He got $5. He got like all he had to do was just go up and she ain't had to kiss him back. As long as he tried to kiss her, he was gonna get the $5. They be doing shit like that to him. They really be betting him like, "Hey, YK Osiris, if you do this, we'll give you like $200." And it's like, you got on a chain that is supposedly $5,000. Why are you doing little do boy shit for for $12 in a box of fucking erasers. So erasers for the back of his earrings, because he got $300 earrings, but he ain't got no. He's still broke. He ain't got no earring backs.
Right. Well, let me speak on this part then. Okay, we were speaking on personas earlier. Okay, and that's all we got to go off on. And I'm not even talking about just rappers or entertainers. Period. Just regular woman. If we see her in the streets, if she was a prostitute, not even, don't even have to be a prostitute. If she just has a reputation and she displays this reputation, like, hey, this is how I am. You know, I'll turn your world out, whatever like this. This is how she's showing herself off to be. And I'm not saying, putting this disclaimer up here, no one deserves to be sexually assaulted at all. But that when we tell people you need to act a certain way or display yourself a certain way, it's not for the law-abiding citizens. It's for the people who don't have impulse control. That's who it's for. It's just like no one should ever steal from somebody, right? No one should rob anybody. We know there's a law that if you steal from somebody, you go to jail. You also, at the same time, would not tell someone to leave your wallet on your dashboard of your car, because there's people who don't have that impulse control to like, damn, that wallet looks very thick. It's probably got a lot of money in it. I'm going to break in that window and I'm going to steal it. We're going to tell you, put the wallet up somewhere so you don't give them a reason to attack you. It's not for the law-abiding citizens. It's for the people who break the law, for the people who don't know how to control their behavior. It's the same thing for me. If a woman puts this certain persona out there who wears certain clothes, the good people who can control their behavior, we don't have a problem with that. It's for the people who don't know how to control themselves. You are giving them a reason, not saying you should be attacked, not saying that, but it's to protect you. It's to keep you safe. And that's all. A lot of times I'll say, I would never tell somebody to wear a bikini and thong, because you got these women out here now that say, we shouldn't police their bodies. We shouldn't police how they dress. It ain't for the people who can control themselves. It's for the ones who don't know how to control themselves. We're trying to keep you safe, because the world ain't all sunshine and rainbow.
Statement. I love liberation and all of that shit. Like I love the equality that is to be shared. But yeah, it's for like there are certain things that you just don't like. I wouldn't walk through the jungle with a steak hanging out of my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't do that. Like I wouldn't walk through insert somewhere you shouldn't walk through in a certain kind of way or fashion. And it's not that something is trying to be imposed on women. I completely understand what you're saying. It's it's not for the rest of society. It's for, I mean, this is literally what laws exist for.
Exactly.
Everyone knows that there are things that you should not do, but people will still do them. So there needs to be consequences for that. And sometimes, like with these things, a law is basically only a consequence after the fact. Like justice can only be served after the act has been committed. So in order to stop the act from being committed, we take certain precautions for ourselves.
Right.
Like wearing a fucking bulletproof vest, to be honest. Like if I know I'm going to a war zone, I'm not about to make a fashion statement and wear a little City Trends bulletproof vest because it matched my fit. I'm gonna wear, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna wear the type of bulletproof vest that I need. It's probably like 50 pounds. It's gonna weigh me down. It's gonna be hot. But I'd like to wear the one that, got my arms out a little bit. The one that, I got my name and my birth date on it, because my birthday coming. You know what I'm saying? Got my name on the background. My custom bulletproof vest. My limited edition Get Rich or Die Trying bulletproof vest.
Oh god. You asking for it now. Go with
the one that 50 Cent didn't have, obviously.
Yeah. Not not when he was shot, 9 times?
Didn't need it.
He didn't have it that night. All right. Anything you want to add to that, Andrew? Anything you want to add to a period, not specifically what you were saying?
Not really, no.
No. Now, anything about I guess how women will present themselves to protect themselves or anything like that?
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, present themselves. Because I had a conversation a while back with a woman, and I
Yeah.
think some women feel like it doesn't matter either way. Because if I dress modestly, something's still gonna happen to me. That's how some of them feel. Like these women that still get raped dressed modestly. Some
That's
dress.
yeah, that is true. But
That is a very real reality.
I mean, it's true, but I think as a man, and I think we look logically, we look at it from prevention. So like when we look at like when a lot of women say, "Yo, y'all don't protect us," they often think somebody's stepping in, but a lot of times we look at it like, "What are you doing to be proactive in preventing something from happening?"
right. Well, I mean, just like I was saying before, well, people do get broken into, but
Yeah.
you don't leave your door open for it to happen.
Word.
You don't go again. You don't put your wallet or just we got a thing with our culture now where we like to flash money, and we like to flash how much money we got. That's drawing eyes to you that you don't want to draw to you. That's the same thing with clothes. Again, it ain't for the people who are law-abiding citizens. It's for the ones who are not good. You're drawing attention, and now they're more than likely going to look at you because they look at you as easy prey, and you are. Versus, there's a reason why you don't hear, and I don't want to go into the Catholic Church thing, but I'm sure if you were to dress like a nun, they're more than likely it's not going to draw eyes towards you for a certain thing to happen to you. Versus if you
motherfuckers is gonna run up on you and try to pray or just try to get you to pray for them, though. Definitely.
Right. Yeah, I know that's a fantasy for some people to go and have sex with a nun, but more than likely nuns ain't going out there and getting attacked. Maybe in general society.
Only
and again, this is why I have such a big thing about and I don't know, Andrew, if you've ever heard of what is her name? Amber Rose. She got this thing.
Yeah, I heard of her.
The Slut Society thing. The Slut Society parade. Yeah, the Slut
Walk.
Yeah.
But on my end, I think the Slut Walk is more or less part of it's that, but I think part of it is some of them want to make the choice of having a certain persona and having a certain energy, but don't want the consequence of it.
Yeah. There's consequences to everything.
It's fucked up because these women like Amber Rose doing something like a slut walk, and literally what all these women do, you're telling young girls to dress like this, you're telling them that their power is in their sexual liberation, and partially it is when you become a woman and you're more aware of it, but and it's literally setting these young girls up to be victims of sex trafficking. Like because the average young black girl develops just like the average young black man very quickly. There are 13-year-old black men that are or black men, the 13-year-old black boys that could be considered black men. And the same with the way a 13-year-old or 14 or 15-year-old black girl can be built. So I get the wanting to express yourself. I get the wanting to have control over your the clothing that you wear, literally a simple modern freedom that everyone should be able to experience. Excuse me, but it's all about it's all about what you want to represent as well, the image that you want to put out. And again, like we said, it could literally just happen. You could be wearing a hijab covered up from head to toe, and someone will still try to throw you in the back of a van. So I guess what we as men have to do is just do even more of our part of not being the motherfuckers to throw women in the back of our vans and abduct them, and maybe stare at them a little bit less. Work on our peripherals if we're gonna take a look. When they out with their titties out and their ass out. What I'm saying? We try to make them feel more comfortable. And I guess
what to what you're saying, LT. That also puts us in a compromising position because now we have to look out for that. Instead, we can't just enjoy ourselves where we're at because now we got to watch for eyes and hands or whatever. And then we might have to throw
I mean, we should. Honestly, we should all be more like, we should all be more ready to like fight sex trafficking or any type of trafficking. Like sometimes people steal animals. people still like little dogs and cat. Like if your grandma leave her little poodle outside for too long, somebody will try to run by and steal that little dog and traffic it and sell it, or you know what I'm saying, or hold it for the ransom and bring it back. Hey, ma'am, I found your dog, knowing they the one that stole it and shit. Like we should definitely because again, women are 50% of the population. History has shown us that they're gonna do what the fuck they want. And what I was saying a little bit earlier about these celebrity women that teach these women or show these women how to be liberated through their sexual expression, they're only allowed to do this with a man's okay. Like they're like literally the people that sign the checks for these women are always going to be men. So it's always women being paid to exploit themselves just so that the next generation of women can be exploited, much like us as black people. That's why there's so many black, and we always talk about it. That's why there's so many black millionaires, but there's the black poverty line is still always right, always consistent. You know what I'm saying?
We had to put on sweaters because men can't control themselves. No, bad men can't control themselves. That's where you have to switch it. It ain't just, it's not for the law-abiding citizens. It's for the ones who don't have impulse control, because everybody's not raised as a good man. For those small few that are not raised as good men or with impulse control, or may have mental issues, as the story we talked about earlier, we can't control everybody. So if you can just control this little bit about yourself, you don't have to put on no turtleneck, but just be wary where you're at and how you present yourself, because it can put you in more danger than you would if you were to dress differently or act differently. And you know, always how you dress, sometimes how you act around people. You can't act a certain way when you go to a job interview, because more than likely how you act may not get you the job. You can't wear certain things at a job interview because you won't get the job, or they're going to view you a certain way. And that's true in almost every walk of life. You can't be liberated at a job. You can't be liberated at a restaurant, but I guess people want to be liberated everywhere else and not worry about the consequences that can come with that. There's consequences with everything you do. It's not for the bad man. Well, it's not for the good man. It's for the bad man. So that's why I'm saying in the end. Well, come on the show, Michelle. Hit you with that one. Come on the show sometime so we can make that the topic. Get you with that one. All right. Let's move on to the next subject. And this one's kind of connected to this one. Not a whole lot to say about it, but Bobby Shmurda. I have heard of him. I know I'm familiar with him.
Shmoney Gang.
Yeah. Had a pretty good hit song
allegedly
a few years ago.
7
What's that now?
It's been about 7 years. It's wild. About 6-7 years. About 6-7 years.
Wow, he's been going. Damn, he was in prison that long?
Yeah. He did that bid.
Yeah, shoot. So what is he like? He like 27 now? Or 25?
Hey Siri. How old is Bobby Shmurda?
Sure, he ain't messing with Bobby Shmurda either.
I listened to like 3 Bobby Shmurda songs. That's about it.
Hold on, let me see if I can pull. What'd she say? She said something.
She literally told me, hold on, she working on it. I'm not gonna rush my series. She got a lot going on. She's still working. I'm gonna say he's like what, 20, 26, 27 probably.
Man, he was like a little kid when that first
he's
song
28.
came.
Excuse me, he's 28.
28? He's 28?
He's 28.
Yeah. Dang. I didn't think he was that old. I'm like, well, okay. Well, a lot of his music, there was a lot of violence, talking about, killing, hurting, drugs, all that type of stuff. He had a good dance, though. I like the dance in that one song he had. Can't think of it right now. He threw a hat in there at one point. I don't know if he ever recovered it, but he recently did an interview with Complex, and he does not listen to hip hop, although that is the genre he performs with. And I kind of took that as a shock. I'm like, because that put bread on his table, but that's also somewhat kind of reason why he went to prison.
Literally wrapped his whole criminal organization up in like 4 minutes, and it was the hottest. That was the hottest confession I had ever heard.
Let's see. Okay, so I'm hold on. Let me see if I got the damn video.
I'm with Trigger. I'm with Rasta. I'm with AR. Broad daylight, and we gonna let them things bark. So you're shooting in broad daylight with Trigger, Rasta, and AR. Thank you. All right, arrest those men.
Damn it! I thought I had a video up here. Oh, yeah, let me download it
I've
again.
been selling crack since like the 5th grade.
Okay, I'm gonna play the interview, a short part of the video where he talks about it, denouncing, or not so much denouncing. He just doesn't listen to hip hop. And the reasons what he gave behind not listening to it was kind of surprising, but it makes sense as well too. And we're gonna give our opinion about what he says about it.
Did they start this shit in high school? Like, where do you bump your head? You just bump your head to start this shit, you know? Or you're rapping first thing because you got these kids. You got these kids fucking following you guys. You know, you got these fucking kids. I'm an asshole, right? But listen, you got these fucking kids following you guys, right? And when these kids are following you guys and you're fucking rapping about these lifestyles, it's in danger. It's very detrimental. You know what I'm saying? It's very dangerous to the communities that these little kids think that is going on, that you did not even live, you know? And it's supposed to be changing the kids, like the raps, but like I think rap's supposed to be telling motherfuckers to go from negative to positive, coming from poverty to going to riches and stuff like that, and how to stay in that and how to change. That's the shit I want to hear. I want to hear about living life. When I had some blood clot reggae, I think I'm gonna listen to reggae. I think I'm like that. So that's why I don't listen to rap. For real, I don't listen to rap. I don't know nothing about rappers. I don't ask. Look,
I respect that.
I don't know nothing about no rap. Only time I listen to rap is when I'm in the club. I just dance to anything. I don't know who part. Listen, a nigga could have told me "fuck me" and his song be on. I don't even know what he playing. Actually,
that nigga don't know what we gonna say.
Oh, what the
that
fuck?
shit happened last time. I'm like, nigga, this is what's the name? He like, oh word.
Yeah, it's better like that, man.
I like this. I be like this. I don't know what the fuck going on. I be like, all right, we in the club. You know what I'm saying?
But to your point, like when it comes to not just rap but music in general, the beauty of it is when you rap or sing or spit, even if it's poetry, you're supposed to rap about your experience.
Yeah.
So if your report card ain't really there, you don't have the right to be speaking on certain shit.
But listen, if they give them $10 million, they gonna do it.
Say whatever
See,
they got.
the thing is right. They gonna take the dirtiest motherfucker. The motherfucker ain't doing nothing right. They gonna get him the most $10 million, and they gonna make 100 million motherfuckers follow behind that. Spend $1, spend millions, spend thousands of dollars trying to live that lifestyle, trying to do some shit that ain't. It's imaginary. I be looking at these motherfuckers like they crazy.
Blasphemy, man.
I would take my shoe off and throw it at they. Have my grandma took their shoe off and throw it at these motherfuckers. It was stupid ass nigga. Murder
in this bitch.
All right.
All
All right. So, basically what I heard, that he doesn't really listen to hip hop because it doesn't really tell about the bad part of it. And well, it does tell the bad part, but it doesn't tell you how to get away from the bad part about it. It doesn't tell you how to get away from the violence. It just tells you about the violence and glorifying it. It doesn't tell you how to go from a bad situation to a good situation. And I was kind of surprised to hear that. I don't know. Again, I don't know a lot about his music. With him getting out of prison, has he changed much of it? I see he's made some songs with, some dance vibes to it, but I couldn't really tell you a lot about his lyrics once he has gotten out of prison. I don't know if you guys have listened to him like that, but basically, what do you guys think about his reasoning for not listening to hip hop anymore? And LT, I'll let you go first on that one. Tell us what you think about his reasoning for not listening to hip hop anymore.
Are you
His
ready?
reasoning is
Go!
100%. Oh, shut up. We was doing time. His reasoning is 100% valid. I'm gonna be honest. There was definitely a gigantic shift in hip hop where we got away from the consciousness in men's hip hop and women's hip hop. I would definitely say that was around the mid '90s. We had kind of like a conscious resurgence in the early 2000s with Kanye West, but you see what corporate and white America has done to him, and that is exactly what Bobby Smurder described at the last. That's exactly what the music industry does. They look for the most they don't look for the best artists to promote and to endorse. They look for the best product to sell. That's what you become to them as the artist. The music industry notoriously hates musicians. That's why they own your music and not you. That's why they make a bigger portion off of the money that you make and not you. They know that if they invest that $10 million into you, you're going to get you're going to be able to get 100 million people to follow you, which is going to generate billions of dollars for them in streams. And guess what? If you do some stupid shit like go to jail, we could just use your music forever. If you do some shit like die, your catalog is going to increase. Like the music industry, the entertainment industry at large has been set up to profit off of these off of musicians way more than the musicians ever see. That's why they're always talking about how tortured they are, how sad they are. And there's no elevation, there's no consciousness, there's no there's no progression to the constant poverty and struggle that we're constantly selling to ourselves. It's a cycle of selling poverty but never getting progress. We see them progress, we see that they have it, but through means of which like they have it, but they tell themselves and they tell us that they're still hood about it. So it makes us feel like, well, if I'm still as ignorant as they promote or present themselves to be, I can achieve what they have. And that's exactly what the above they want us to think.
Okay. All right, Andrew, I'll let you go next. Just tell us your thoughts on Bobby Shmurda saying he does not listen to hip hop and for the reasons he gave.
Are you ready? Go!
He's right, and I think part of why he says that is I think because of him having that go to prison, him actually rapping it, going to prison, and then you got to think in his case he took the time he took so his friends could also have the same amount of time. It kind of get out around the same time he took. So in the eyes of somebody like him, he's solid, but when you look at it, he's looking at it like I did this time, and you see these people rapping all this and they don't live the life, and now he's like, why did I even do it? I need to give game to people to kind of improve their life and get them out of those situations. He sees people still rapping about the situation, and some of them never lived it. He's gonna look at it. He's gonna look at it funny. He's gonna side eye it. And also, like I agree with the whole conscious rap thing. What Trent was saying, like it kind of died out. We don't have that real balance on the radio or in streaming or just in general in entertainment. We don't have that real balance where we have somebody talk about the street, but then we have somebody dropping knowledge. You know, like we talk about back in the 90s, you know how you listen to Eazy-E, but you had Brand Nubians.
Right.
You had all that back. You had all that back then. And now we just have, get in the street and trap. I'm pimping hoes. I'm pushing P. I'm drinking lean. There ain't nobody talking about, man, I'm going to college, going to get these books, or I'm taking up a trade, or I'm investing my money. I'm really getting money. Like really, when we talk about getting money and investing, the only real dude you listen to probably is what? Money Man. And he's still talking street stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about it, there's no real balance in this. And I think he doesn't listen to it because he sees the imbalance in it. And then the only appropriate time is to go to the club because what you doing in the club, you're doing exactly what you're doing in a rap song. Drinking lean, getting drunk, pushing P.
All right, cool. I'm gonna let it go all the way up. All right. I'm gonna go next.
Are you ready? Go!
Okay. So I agree with what you guys say. It's all about oversaturation. It's not that I hate, gangster music, because the news may be a bad thing. What I hate about the news is this oversaturation of bad news. There's no such thing as good news. And most of the time when you go listen to CNN, Fox, and nothing, it's all bad things for the most part. Even if they're talking about somebody in a good light, they got to down somebody on top of that to do that. Like somebody talks good about a Republican, they got to down a Democrat. Somebody talk good about a Democrat, they got to down a Republican. Back in the 90s, the 80s, or whatever, even when we had gangster rap in the 90s, it still was a balance to it. You know, you like I said, you had your brand Nubians, you had your positive rappers, you had your people that talked about what is actually happening in the world today. And we do need those type of rappers that actually talk about what's actually happening today. If there is a drug trade, if there's need for trap music, that's fine. If there is, it's not oversaturated. It's just like movies. I don't have a problem that there's mafia movies. You know, I don't have a problem with that. But if there was nothing but movies about the mafia, there's no comedy, there's no drama, there's no rom-coms, then it gets drawn out, you know? And it's the same thing with music. There's no diversity. If anything, people are always trying to get diversity nowadays with movies, and they're still complaining about that. But there's no diversity in hip hop music right now. That's where we need diversity. We need people that actually put a good message out there. At the same time, we need what Capone and Noriega were. They were news to the streets. They told you what was happening in the streets. They also told you the ills of what can happen if you continue living this lifestyle. And as Bobby Shmurda was saying, nobody's doing that. They're just telling you, live this life and live for the now. No one is talking about prosperity and living a better life for the future, 20, 30 years from now. If Mary J. Blige, and she used to kind of do this, she used to have a lot of sad songs and break up songs and stuff like that and looking for real love. But eventually, she started doing some happy songs. There were some people that didn't like her doing happy songs like Fine or whatever like that.
Married.
Yeah, they wanted her to go. When she got divorced, people was like, oh, good. Now she can go back to the old Mary and talk about breakup.
They currently do that with Summer Walker.
Oh, yeah? What's her routine now?
That anytime she has a failed relationship, people know the music is going to be fire. Shit, we do that with Drake a little bit. We do that with a lot of our art, with Future.
Yeah.
Like, we literally, again, their lives become and that's the only reason they have social media. If I had millions, damn near billions of dollars, you think I would interact with people that don't?
Yeah.
No. But my money is dependent upon them supporting me with their money.
And then when you think about it, even back in the day before social media, you look at like an artist like James Taylor, when he says, I seen fire and rain, it was dealing with his pain, I think, being locked up in a psych ward. And so he came out with the music, this great music, because his pain. I think what happens now is we want the negativity for good music. And our attention span is so small that it's just to get that dopamine hit, we need a certain thing for a lot of people just to get that dopamine hit in our brain.
We gotta pay attention to the frequencies too. Like there's like I agree with you. I don't dislike gangster rap. Like I love NWA. Like I'm never gonna not turn the fuck up when I hear their music. I fucking love Wu-Tang Clan. But these, like when you're constantly feeding that, like you were saying about oversaturation, when you're waking up to kill a nigga music, like it reminds me of the last motherfucking scene in or the last story in Tales from the Hood about Special K when he goes to the when he goes to the special prison. They got the hip hop music playing over the intense imagery of Ku Klux Klanery and violence against black people. And if you put hip hop music over the backdrop of violence against black people, it's kind of the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like we're addicts, we're dealers, we're pimps, we're hoes. We're the struggle that we claim to see in our reality and our music. At one point, yes, it being a reflection of our reality was very necessary because the news was not doing that for us, because the news was painting us in a negative light. Shout out to Ronald and Nancy fucking Reagan for the war on drugs, which according to Tupac was just a war on you and me, which the fuck it was. So hip hop, even like I said, NWA and Ice Cube, when he branched off on his own, was a actual report of what was going on. But the music industry is ever evolving. They found a way to, okay, so you're going to use your little gangster rap to educate and kick knowledge. Oh, you think your shit is brolic? You trying to kick knowledge? And that's when we started getting an oversaturation of gangster rappers. That's when we started getting gangster rappers that were further away from I'm not a gangster. I just, I live in these areas, and more rappers that were, I hate to say it, like, Snoop Dogg actually from gangs, you know what I'm saying? Actually, West Seal, Fo Lil. And over the years, and then I blame Puffy and Diddy for the increase in paying attention to black capitalism. Shiny suits, money, cash hoes. They definitely made us materialistic. They made the black man materialistic. And yeah, now it's now the only balance we have is between trying to be as wealthy as white people and trying to look as wealthy as white people actually are, and trying to keep it as hood as we possibly can. Like, that's the only balance that we have, and that's why we're not progressing. And that's the code that the music industry has figured out. We'll let you make the gangster rap, but yeah, that because there are conscious artists. We don't get those. You don't see promotion for albums from Talib Kweli or Yasin Bey or Rhapsody. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I was
or
about to say Rhapsody, North Carolina. Good rapper too. She great rapper.
Those aren't the female rappers that the industry wants to sell. They want to sell you the woman that's twerking. They want to sell you the Ice Spice.
Go ahead, Andrew. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was like, when he was talking about when Trent was talking about the frequency. One of the things I noticed, because I make beats, is when we listen back to the '90s, before you really got into an 808. Like the South was on 808, but it ain't as low frequency as it is now. So when you listen to it, even how we approach the samples and stuff, like when you listen to West Coast, even though it was gangster rap back in the day, it was a funk sample. So it was still like an upbeat funk sample. You look at the South, it was like a soul, even R&B like New York. And we use like regular synth sounds and like a deeper 808, and it's like a low rumble. Because if you think about our mind, even the mindset now of a kid to talk about being in the trap, back in the day, you had
we're more
like,
depressed.
Yeah, when you go back, because you listen to like
and
even in the South, like Ghetto Mafia, when they talked about trap, this is like 90s. You remember Ghetto Mafia, Indicator, all that, talk about the trap and all that. Now we listen, and all these cats be talking about I'm on demon time, and it's because of that frequency, that music, that frequency. Cats be like, I'm on demon time now, where back then, if you think about it, the 90s was much worse in a way than now. And cats won't talk about their own demon time. They were still trying to go dance.
Right.
We're still out here dancing and catching mad bodies at the same time.
More bodies than we've ever caught, though. Because I mean, how many people can we count on two hands that died in the 90s from rap?
From rap directly? Because Big Pun just passed away. Or did Big Pun get shot, or was it a heart attack?
Yeah, he had a heart attack.
Okay, I thought, or someone shot him while he was having a heart attack?
No, he just had a heart attack.
I'm just saying beyond, like when you think about beyond rap, just like in the regular street, like in the 90s, like people come out the crack era, all this stuff. Compared to now, you have like pockets of cities where they have crime, but like back in the day, it was just crazy overall.
I'll say it's more now because of the internet, because of how connected we are through technology and information.
That's fair.
Rappers that aren't even as big, we're saying RIP to. We already because of motherfuckers like DJ Academics, we know about the little beefs that are going on in Fayetteville, Arkansas. We know about the little beefs that are we knew about the war in Chirac, all because of the internet. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers there are people that live in Maine, Des Moines, Iowa, in places that claim to be a part of the 4K gang. Like we literally love following conflict and love following drama. That's a very essential human trait. And our music for a long time has literally just, especially, you know what it was that made the music industry say we can make money off of this shit? East Coast, West Coast rap beef.
Yeah.
It was the East Coast, West Coast rap war, because it was literally the way the media documented it. It gave them mad coverage, literally on the news channels, on ABC 11 and shit. If it was on, if ABC was on 11 back in the fucking 90s, they would. All right, this week More East Coast, West Coast rap beef feud when Tupac shows up at the MTV Awards and Biggie Smalls. Like they were literally reporting on it every night on every station because it was generating views, it was generating money. And then they were able to go and sign rappers and just give them, hey, we wrote a little diss track for you. You know, just again, investing a little bit, knowing that they're going to generate a lot because of our consumer addiction to conflict, drama, and violence. Because we're preconditioned to back to the frequencies and the vibrations, like the G funk. It seeps in the pores. You know what I'm saying? There's that jazzy element when the saxophone and the horns start kicking in and shit. But the more the only thing that's more maybe just as powerful as the frequency, the words, the spoken word, the manifestation, the things that we are saying. Tupac depicted himself as a crucified Christ on the album that came out before he died, and it was before he died. Biggie Smalls is Machiavelli, the Don Illuminati, the 7-Day Theory. Goddamn. Biggie Smalls' first two albums are literally based around death, Ready to Die and Life After Death. The things you speak come into this world, and there's nothing more powerful than being an orator. There's nothing more powerful than being able to use and manipulate music. This music comes directly from the divine. One of the angels, y'all may know his name, Lucifer, the morning star.
You know, one of the other funny aspects of it when we talk about gangster rap, when we think about when gangster rap really caught on, what was going on at the same time in entertainment? Like when we watch, early 90s,
the movies.
Yeah, we look at the movies. We had a different world. We had Cosby Show. We had a whole bunch of positive
you mean those
examples of black people. Different world, school days, black people going to college. And then we also, when you look at the conscious rap at the time, we was wearing clothes showing historically black colleges.
Afrocentric shit.
Spelman. We was talking, everybody was on that. They had to get us away from
school days and shit.
Yeah.
Let's just say Spike Lee movies.
Like they literally had to get us away from that.
You know what? You're exactly right. In the 90s, we had an Afrocentric resurgence. We was really getting back to knowing ourselves a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, oh no. Oh no. You know what? Let them have the gangster rap. Let them have that instead. I'd much rather them be gangsters than geniuses.
Because you even have to think, we look at the rap, even beyond with the rap, you had the Brand Nubians, the Tribes, all that. Soul. You had people wearing the African medallions, all this different stuff going on at the same time, and it was positive. And we had to kind of, they had to go get that positivity out of there.
Yeah, I think what we have to do,
like the biggest fear is really like a united black people, like united.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
I think we have to go back to
like
show
really
them
united on one accord, one page.
I think we have to go back to show them how much money can be made by the consumers with positive music. I think that's what, because money sells, money speaks. That's why they're allowing this certain image being portrayed in the media as far as music is concerned. Is because it makes them the most money.
Because their excuse is always going to be because we buy it.
That's true.
Yeah.
But we do buy it. But we're not the biggest consumer of it, though.
You're right. We are not the biggest financial consumer of it.
Yeah.
We just make it cool, which is how they get the biggest financial consumer, which is the rest of the world. Yeah. Hip hop is the biggest, the most popular form of music on the planet. There are other forms of music that are older than hip hop, but it is the most popular. And I would say pop is probably the most profitable in terms of just sheer money being made. But everyone around the world loves hip hop. And that's made it a damn near $1 trillion industry. But there are no there's like a sprinkle, 2 peppered black billionaires within the hip hop industry. And guess who? It's the motherfucking Shiny Suit Man and Joe Campbell.
I was about to say, yeah, Jay-Z. Yeah, okay. What I was about to say is what makes it even harder today. Even though hip hop is a young man's game, it's always been a young man's game. It's gotten even younger. And as you were saying, LT, the many streams of way that people can become famous from YouTube to TikTok. You can become a star at 5 years old off of TikTok. And you can make your own song at 8 years old on TikTok. And you can make money off of it now. Some of these TikTokers are more rich than parents now. So here's the thing that's going to be really hard is you have to teach your kids integrity. And that's hard to teach when you're bringing in more than your parents. It's already
think about it. That's why they
tax bracket than your father and mother, because you're making this money. You're not thinking about integrity at the single digit age or teenager age. So it's hard to convince people to not take these negative stereotypes that are involved in music, because money overlaps integrity a lot of times.
The entertainment industry knows that. That's why, preferably, just like you said, it's a young person's game. They want young people. Like they love getting child stars and getting legal ownership. Diddy had legal ownership of Justin Bieber. Did y'all know that?
No.
Like legal guardianship.
Yeah, like
Usher, but not Diddy, but damn.
Usher as well. Diddy also had legal guardianship of Usher.
What in the world? They both had legal guardianship. Why?
Yeah.
It goes deep like that because they love molding a young person because one, they're more impressionable. You could literally just blatantly you could groom them into who you want them to be, especially if you're trying to turn them into the perfect product to sell to the rest of the world. And that's much easier to do with a child, a teenager, or a young adult than it is to do with a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old, a 50-year-old who has already lived life and who is already pretty much going on a journey of life and know who they are. When you get a young person like a Disney Channel star, Nickelodeon, look at how our child stars turn out. Like literally, come on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for this. Like we should have shut down we should have been investigating the entertainment industry after the first few after Gary Coleman came out here punching people, after Danny Bonaducci was out here getting arrested every weekend, after Robert Downey Jr. was, getting arrested every weekend. We should have been looking into it. Mary-Kate and that one of them damn near OD. Lindsay Lohan was out here tripping for a long time.
Yeah.
I know they got really small.
Orlando Brown.
Oh, both of them got really small at one point. I don't know what for. I don't know if they were starving themselves or what.
They're
I don't know.
really small. They're really tiny people. I don't even think they're people sometimes.
And then you remember speaking of Gary Coleman, the chick from Different Strokes was doing them late night Cinemax movies.
Dana Plato? You said from Different Strokes, Dana Plato, the white girl.
Like the late night Cinemax movies, yeah.
If I did, I didn't recognize her.
No.
I don't remember doing anything besides Different Strokes. So I probably did see her.
Yeah, because she actually popped up. She actually popped up on some of a few of those. Yeah.
She got to keep some money, man. When that Different Strokes money died down, she got to do Different Strokes in a different way.
Or Judy from Family Matters, the middle sister Judy.
Yeah,
remember she did porn.
Yeah, she got locked up in the room and never came out. Stayed up there doing porn.
Random. Y'all remember that episode of Different Strokes where where Gary Coleman and his friend damn near got child molested at that bike shop?
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's been a minute.
Matter of fact, I remember that because that was Weasel from Family Matters.
Oh wow. See, there's a connection right there, right?
Yeah, that happened. That was the episode they had. Yeah.
And you see,
because everybody wants young.
A reason why some of these kids end up like this because the parents ain't got integrity. They let that happen. They rather get that money instead.
Yeah, under the pretense of you're doing this for your parents. We shouldn't allow kids in the entertainment industry. We should just pay midgets. Excuse me, little people.
Well, I'm about to say Gary Coleman was in that category. Shoot, he was pretty old.
According to him, he was a child.
Yeah,
because it's weird. Yo, Michael Jackson showed up to the Grammys carrying Emmanuel Lewis. And R.I.P. both of them. Like, Emmanuel Lewis was like 24 at the time. Michael
Probably
Jackson showed up
thought
with
of him
Brooke
as just like
Shields,
another
Carrie, and
chimpanzee or something.
Emmanuel Lewis. Oh man.
You know, the one thing I go back to,
that.
because I have to partially disagree with y'all when y'all say hip hop is a young person's sport. I mean, I partially agree, but I think the other part is it depends on what you're trying to do in hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're trying to really bring someone with some substance, you're gonna be an older rapper. Because it's gonna take you amount of time to build up a fan base. But if you're trying to do like really the commercialized gangster stuff, yeah, it's young.
Well, who has a long career past 40, really, besides, let's say, Jay-Z, who's an anomaly? Maybe M is another anomaly. There's not that many rappers.
Now here for 30 summers.
Who's that?
And then when you look at some of the rappers, and when you look at it, some of them started, some of them didn't get famous till 30.
Yeah. And
when I mean, famous till 30.
I mean, say Nas is still doing it good, but he ain't doing the same numbers he was when he was younger. He's still a great rapper.
And the reason but then again, it's a real time thing. Like the Jay-Z and Nas thing, that's really that's really what we're talking about when we're talking about the conscious rap versus the mainstream watered down conditioning and mind programming rap. Jay-Z is always going to outsell Nas because Nas's label isn't going to push him the way Jay-Z's label is going to push him. There's a mandate for the kind of Nas is going to say things that they don't want on the radio. And it's ironic because they don't mind putting songs on the radio that literally shoot people. They don't mind putting songs on the radio that are sexually perverse. They don't mind putting songs on the radio that are just explicit in every way, shape, or form. But they do mind putting songs on the radio if they have a sour message about, I don't know, slavery in this country. If they have a meaningful message about the necessity of Black fathers, you know what I'm saying? If they have things that would actually help a people grow and progress. And again, we'll always run into but where's the radio single at? Like that's what J. Cole was talking about on his song Let Nas Down, where he was deciding what kind of artist do I want to be? Do I want to be the kind of artist that my label head Hove, Jay-Z, wants me to be? Or do I want to be the kind of artist that my other idol, my other mentor, Nas, would like to see me become? Do I want to be more about the art or more about generating the income, or being more about being the hottest artist instead of being, instead of about just creating the art?
Okay.
And when we think about sales back then compared to now since it's streaming, the sales it's not gonna be the same necessarily. So when you look at somebody like a Jay-Z or Nas back then, you said what?
I said, which makes it easier to manipulate. Like Jay-Z loves to say men lie, women lie, numbers don't. But now that we've moved into streaming, just like 6ix9ine was trying to show us when he got outsold by Justin Bieber and fucking Ariana Grande, when it comes to the big labels, to the big stars, they're going to make sure that their big stars hit number one. They're going to make sure that you can't turn on the radio without hearing that song. They're going to make sure that you can't open an Apple or Spotify playlist without seeing that song or that album. They have the money to invest in their artists, and they're going to make sure that they always go number one because there's a mandate and an agenda of what they want to put forward. Again, females, you're not going to open up Apple Music and see No Name. You're going to open up Apple Music and see Lotto. That's what they want y'all to have.
Especially as an indie artist, you're only limited to so many streams per day on Spotify. So they kind of cap your streams per day. Most people don't really realize that.
Interesting. Okay.
I didn't know that.
All right. Fair enough.
So for an indie artist, you would have to actually put out way more material to get the same amount of streams as a major artist. So where I could put out an album a year, you may have to do 2 or 3 just to kind of keep the numbers up. Because each song has a cap on streams per day. But if you have a whole bunch of songs, you can actually get the same amount of money, but just it's spread out over so many songs.
I don't even know what even counts as a stream anymore. Because what I understand, streams are combined with YouTube streams, with music listening streams. Those are combined, from what I understand, to your
Yo,
sales. That
giant
is.
record labels
Yeah.
literally have rooms where they've bought hundreds and hundreds of phones just so they can stream whatever song their top artist has
Yeah.
just released.
That's unfair, but
And that's why even on if you're indie on a major, they don't even do Spotify because they know the streaming form, so they look at your Apple Music record instead of Spotify or like Tidal.
okay, fair enough. All right, we'll leave this one. We'll go to the last story for tonight with TD Jakes. He spoke on Father's Day, and his gripe was, I guess, women telling fathers how to be fathers. He gave an impassioned speech about it. I'm going to play the video about it, and then we're going to give our opinions about what we think about it. As soon as I pop it up here.
And tells me how to be a father, I will open my mouth and flat out scream. You can no more tell me how to be a father than I can tell you how to birth a baby. I don't know nothing about birthing a baby. I don't know nothing about nursing a child. You have to know what you don't know. Shut up being the teacher and just be the wife. How do you know how to be a father? Not only are you not a father, most of you didn't even have a father, and yet you're an expert on how to be.
Okay, so he was pretty fired up about that, and there were a lot of people who were upset how he came across, given that speech, that no women should tell another man how to be a father. And I guess the question that's going to be popped up here, do you agree with that assessment? Should he be able to say something like that? That a woman should not be able to tell another man how to be a father. Especially, as he said in there, if you didn't have a father or even a good father on top of that. So I'll let you go first on that, then Andrew, and then me last. What do you have to say about what TD Jakes had to say about another woman telling another man how to be a father?
Are you ready?
I thought that was the old boy from Tyler Perry House of
Oh
Pain.
God.
I mean, not House of Pain. What's the
Mr. Brown.
man?
Mr. Brown.
You know the one. I don't know
Mr.
Tyler
Brown.
Perry shit. I guess I'll be Brown. That's who
Yeah.
I thought. Man, he was tight. He was upset. I get what he's saying though, because I mean, it makes I could never tell a woman how to be a mother. You can definitely what we do have to be comfortable with though is being able to say, hey, you're not exhibiting the qualities of the kind of father figure I would like for our child to have. We have to learn how to communicate better. We say things and we're so definitive about the way that we speak, but we don't really clarify it or take the time to clarify it. Because yeah, whereas I've never given birth to a child. And some women haven't, but they still use the fact that women give birth as a kind of a leg up on that shit. But yeah, I would never try to tell. I can never feel like I can tell a woman exactly what it takes to be a mother. Where you're I can tell you where you're falling short in terms of the kind of mother figure that you are. But again, that takes more explaining. That takes more effort and more communicated abilities. He ain't had to talk about them not having dads. That was a low blow. He was upset. That's what I'm saying. Like he was telling them shut up. He was tight about that shit. And I get it because it's Father's Day and you don't want to be reminded that fathers suck, I guess, but it's fathers got to stop sucking. And I don't know how to make that happen. I'll be after I become a father eventually. I'll work to make sure I'm gonna start a dad awards or some shit. Do dads have awards? Dads always
I
get like
don't
some
know.
little shit, socks or a fucking mug or some shit. We just gotta we just gotta take dad more seriously. We gotta take parenting more serious. Like no one should really be able to tell to anyone else about what they are lacking if you aren't fucking terrific parent.
Okay. Andrew, I'll let you go next, man. You tell us how you feel about T.D. Jakes and what he said about women telling another man how to be a father.
Are you ready? Go!
I think he's right. I mean, we really need to. It's not you a woman. She's a woman. She don't understand about being a man. Like talking to another, and what the role the father comes in is balance. Because like I often look at it as like this: the woman brings the nurturing, the man brings like the instruction and all that certain stuff. Like not that women don't bring instruction too, but like there's a like emotional, logical. You know, you don't want anybody too logical, then it seems like you're an unempathetic asshole. But you don't want anybody too emotional, because then it's like, so a father and a mother bring balance. It's like a yin and yang, the masculine and feminine. But your role as a father and what you try to instill being even a positive masculine figure. Because like for me, I feel like, now this is what I think. I think in America, culturally, we don't really want strong masculinity. And I think what T.D. Jakes was really trying to explain that, because I think he sees what's going on in the world. Because like when you look at life, like when we look at certain people, when you try to say certain things as a man, you get met with pushback because, oh, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. Sometimes you just got to say it how you got to say it so it hit their spirit. But I also think like, yeah, a woman can't really say what a father, a certain thing she probably could, but like overall, being a father, especially like if you a father to a son, if you got a son, she just need to stay out. And let him really kind of like do his thing. Now, if he's doing, if it's something inappropriate, yeah. But like if he's doing a good job, let him do the job. Let him be a man.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Are you ready? Go!
Okay. I agree with T.D. Jakes. A woman can't tell or teach, let's just say that, teach another man how to be a father. I think she can say where he may be falling short. You know, if he's not spending time with a kid, then you can say, okay, I need you to spend more time with the kid. But how he tells the kid how to react in certain situations, how another man would react in certain situations, she can't tell, because men don't respond the same way to aggression or problems at work with other men the same way women respond to other women. As I always tell people when we talk about men's interactions with other men, a lot of our communication is physical. We look at physical cues, whether certain situations may be too aggressive, or it may turn to violence, or it's just a respectful conversation between two guys or three guys or whatever. Like we can argue about sports and we could be yelling at each other. To them, it looks like we're getting ready to get in a fight, but we're just having a friendly discussion. Whether if you see two women yelling the same way that two men are yelling at each other, they actually may hate each other, or they're arguing with each other back and forth, and it may turn into something different. If she says, hey, I see your son is yelling at the other kid, tell him to calm down, I'm like, no, they're just being men. They're just talking to each other, having a great conversation between each other. It looks like something else, but that's just how we handle things. And that's how a lot of things psychologically are just different between men and women. For the most part, speaking in generalities, those things are different. And women, I think you can say where you're not, where you may be falling short as a father, but teaching, I think, is a whole different thing. Women can't tell a father how to raise a son. Now, if there's abuse involved, then that's one thing, as I think Andrew was saying. If something wrong is going, like he's abusing the child, then that's a different story.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I feel about that. But
overall,
Go ahead.
I do think we need to encourage men to be fathers, but also we need to tell women to allow the space for men to really be strong masculinely, to be a strong masculine figure for a kid and being a father appropriately.
Yeah. what I was going to add, though, let me add this to it. Okay, so she can't tell him how to teach his son how to be a man. But where do guys go to learn that? Because fathers may have didn't have fathers to learn from growing up. So where does he go to learn how to be a father?
A book.
A book.
Therapy.
How about other men that maybe have experienced being a father?
I wouldn't start there, but I mean, yeah.
No. I think experience is better than a book a lot of times.
You would. You would have to be a father. That's a better experience.
Yeah, I'm just saying. He's in a church, and there's probably a hoping there's some fathers in there somewhere. He's in a pretty huge church. Hopefully, there's some guys in there that can teach him what to do in a situation that he might be unsure of, and he can go to another man.
Little boys. I don't. Excuse me. I don't trust churches with little boys.
Okay, I mean, there's still people too that still raise kids just as well as anybody else, or just as worse.
Well, I would go with who a positive masculine figure in your life. Who would you have in your life that would be positive as a strong masculine figure? Would you want to learn about life from them? And that would it wouldn't necessarily be a father, but it would be somebody like a mentor. Because a lot of times we tend to look at like, how do I learn how to be a father? You're gonna have to be mentored. It's just like life. Somebody's gonna have to tell you, hey, this is what you do to do this. So you're gonna have to find a mentor in your life where somebody, even though it might not be a father figure, it'd be like a mentor where somebody's like, yeah, I know you're doing this with your son, but you need to do this. Or like, this is what I would do.
All right. I think one trap that I think a lot of guys go through that maybe didn't have someone in the home, and they make a vow when they have a kid, they're like, I'm never going to do what my father did. Or they may have had an abusive father, and they say, I'll never do what my abusive father did to me. And a lot of times, at least some stories I've heard, they end up doing the same thing or close to the same thing that their parents did. And then I guess therapy could be a thing for that, or having a mentor to tell them, hey, you're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing that your father did or didn't do. You need to watch yourself on that.
They would have to be. That's why I said either start with a book or therapy, because you would have to be honest with that mentor. Like, unless that mentor lives with you and your significant other, they're not going to know the ins and outs of your relationship unless you're divulging it to them.
Yeah. But even in therapy, I guess that's the same thing, because some people lie in therapy and just only tell the good part. Narcissist, you only tell the good part.
I feel like a therapist more so than a mentor is better at pulling out the things that you're probably trying. I feel like a therapist could probably pick up on your lies. I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna lie to my therapist and see if they.
A lot of people do it. A lot of people do.
And then often, I think, before we learn how to be a father, you need to learn how to be a man first and foremost before anything. And like therapy, I agree with. I partially agree with therapy. I had a bad experience in therapy. That's a whole separate story. So, so for somebody like me, when somebody say, "Would you go to therapy, Andrew?" I'm like, "Hell no." But I had a whole bad experience with the mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like, if you somebody that aspires to be a father, before you actually have a kid, you should focus on what qualities what I want to have to be a great father. What would I want to instill into a future generation, and go from there. Because I think the big problem is some of us are fathers before we even really thought about it, and now there's a baby, you're like, what do I do?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's like I saw some on YouTube. Guy had been to prison. He come out doing all this different stuff. And he was like, he was like, what changed him was he wanted to be the person. He decided he wanted to be the person that if he saw that the person he wanted to be would be the person that if he saw he would admire. So that was what he aspired to be, the person that he would admire himself and would want to be like in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of us, we refuse to be those people like the person you should be as a father. Be like, if somebody saw you with your kid, they'd be like, well, damn, that's where I want to be. If I'm a father, that's who I want to be like.
I think there's a sense of, as it's kind of been a running topic here, kind of with the first story too. There's no sense of community here. There's no, especially for guys. It's even hard for guys. Women have a better community where they can go talk to each other and be open with each other. And it's different with guys. We're not as verbal as women, so we don't have that as many outlets to go to talk to other guys. So we don't have that community to where we can just go talk to another guy. Say, hey, am I messing up here as a father? What should I do here as a father? How should I discipline my child as a father or as a man, period? How should I handle this? We don't handle that. You know, therapy is a good thing, but, you know, the therapist isn't available 24 hours and they cost. So when the cost of the therapist goes up or your insurance doesn't cover it, where do you go to next? You know, and the book is more than likely written by a therapist too. And probably a therapist that hadn't even gone through it. And like I said, I'm not shitting on therapy completely, but a lot of therapists with the things they are trying to fix, they've never been through. And I think experience is always the best teacher. School helps, but I think experience helps out a lot more than just actually looking at it in a book. Not to shit on completely, but I like experience better for the most part. And like I said, some people go through experience and don't know what the hell they talking about still, because people have experienced prison a lot of times and still take their ass back every week. So it doesn't always work. So that's what I think is mostly missing is just a sense of community, to find someone or many people that you can express yourself to. And it's harder for men to do that because, you know, we don't wear our expressions on our sleeve. You know, we wear it in our back pocket with the button where you can lock the back pocket up, and with a combination on there that only we know. So it's hard to express ourselves like women. Women can express themselves at the drop of a hat or a tear. They can talk to anybody. They can talk to the person in the cashier's line. But we got to know somebody for a minute. We talk to people like how we choose our barbers. Very rarely. We keep the same barber for life. We keep the same team for life, but it's hard for us to open up to talk to somebody about our issues and our problems, no matter what they are.
I don't know them.
And some of that is fear of judgment. Fear of judgment.
Yeah,
like if I'm a man, I don't want to go just talk to a man about how I feel about certain stuff because we perceive that that person might judge us in a certain way.
Weakness.
Like, dang, man, he's soft, or he this, or he weak.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes you be surprised you actually had that conversation. That man, he like, man, I've been feeling the same way.
Yeah. And that can go really to talking to women too, because they might, she might think I'm weak if I'm not handling this on my own. So
good hands come in.
And in society, we do not create a safe space for men to actually be honest with what we really feel and what's going on really with our life. We don't really create a safe space, even in a relationship. Sometimes a woman that says she wants you is vulnerable, but the moment you're vulnerable, then it's like, oh, you weird, nigga.
Right. Exactly. LT, were you about to say something on that? LT, you there? Did you freeze? Oh, no, you there? No, I was gonna say I thought you were about to say something on that.
Froze up a little bit. What's good?
No, I thought you were about to pop in and say something at some point, but I don't know if you had froze up.
I did, in many ways. We're good though.
Okay, we're good. Okay. Andrew, do you have any parting statements to say?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go into the last part on the deepest thought. No thought really needed besides what's inside your head. But if you want to laugh about it, you want to cry about the last thing we're about to see, that's okay. Let me see. Let me pop the video. Here's our deepest thought for this week. Here we go.
Was motherfucker trying to hang himself?
Say what?
Was someone trying to hang themselves?
Nah, you didn't see that snake? You didn't see that snake over there?
Oh hell, that was a snake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See the snake at the very top?
Oh shit.
Damn. Oh, man.
Yeah, see that it's getting hit by the blades. It's coming out of the ceiling. There's a hole in the ceiling.
Dios mío. Cristo.
All right, that was the deepest thought, and that is the end of our show today. Hostile Therapy, Big Red with me, Big Red. Appreciate LT, Lord Trent, coming on here, blessing us with his knowledge. And Drew Greenfield, appreciate you coming on here, man, blessing us with your knowledge as well, man. Thank everybody else, the audience, for joining the show. And we'll be back here next Thursday. And thank you for getting some Hostile Therapy, not because you want it, but because you need it. Y'all have a good night. Peace.
Free Palestine.